Okay.
All right, so at least we're recording now. We're golden.
At least we're recording now.
Yeah.
So now we're golden.
Yeah. Now we're perfect. That's a sick little fucking display you got over there, like all the movie covers.
Oh, thank you. You've seen that before. You've seen that in videos.
No, but I've never seen it like calm and not like from a high angle up facing down at you.
Yeah,
I
man.
always, for some reason, I always assumed that was inside of like a closet or something.
Yeah, it looks weird. I tried to set my office up to look in different ways like a studio over the years. Like, I don't know. I just always wanted it. I always wanted the stuff that I liked to be on display to show that, like, yeah, maybe I know a little bit of what I'm talking about. People might not agree with what I'm saying, like my reviews on shit, but at least like I'm not a poser. So
Yeah, well, and it shows your personality. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Some
No, it
people
does, because like
you see the comment section in my channel of my movie reviews. There are some people that are very heavily torn on the shit that I say.
yeah, but fuck them, man. They're crazy people. But like when you look at someone's collection, everyone's collection is different, right? And like I said, it's like it's a reflection of who you are as like a fan or enthusiast, whatever. Like if you looked at my collection, you'd be like, wow, there's like Half Baked, and then there's like The Exorcist, and then there's all this random other bullshit, and it's what is that word, like culmination of everything that you like in one place, you know.
Yeah.
And I think like that's what makes stuff cool. If everyone had the exact same collection, like especially like in your case with like video games, where there's less video games than there is movies, you know what I mean? So there's more room for people to have the same type of stuff in the gaming like scene. So I think it's cool that like you have your own style, I have my own style, and that's what makes stuff interesting for me at least. I don't want to see the same fucking thing over and over and over again, like you see, like especially whenever we have like these booms of collecting becomes like really hot again for a while. If it's not VHS or video games or movies of whatever kind, it always like what I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now, but you get
I
what
know
I'm
what you're.
saying. Yeah.
It feels boring because you're like, oh well, everyone is basically the same. I feel that way, especially when it comes to video game, at least video game YouTube channels and video game videos. How many times can you turn on a YouTube channel and you see someone has like, the same generic crap behind them? For me, yeah, it is like you said. I throw what I like the most up, and then sometimes I get so sick of seeing it, I tear it down, and then I throw other shit that I forgot that I owned up on top of my shelves because I want to look at that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see it throughout the years of my YouTube channel. I probably look, if on the outsider looking in, I probably look like a fucking crazy person because you've seen my office where the videos change so much as far as like what the shit is behind me and how this office has been rearranged so many fucking times. I just get really bored with what I'm looking at sometimes, even though I really like it.
Yeah, I know what you're
So
saying. Like even with me, man, like I love to rearrange stuff, but at like where I'm at right now, it's just kind of like, you know, it has to stay pretty much the same way, which drives me nuts a little bit. Uh, like I haven't really changed this apartment up since I moved here, and I've been here for like a year and a half, and it's the only thing you can really change up is what's on the shelf. Like I still have like multiple, probably like at least a few hundred more movies just in boxes and stuff, because I like it's shit that I don't really give a fuck about. Like I didn't purge the collection because I didn't sell the stuff yet, but I mean I really kind of flushed the stuff out that I didn't need out on the shelf, because I think everybody that collects, especially like tapes and stuff like that, you go through the phase of just like if it looks kind of like horror or like exploitation-y or anything like that, you pick it up for like 50 cents, and then you're just left with a fucking heap of random crap that you're not even going to probably watch, you just bought. So I think I definitely was involved in that situation with comic books, with movies, like I said, and now I'm really happy with what I have on the shelf. And even now, like, it could still use another flush through it as far as like a purge goes. But I'm really starting to hone shit up, hone it around, hone it down. Um, and it's funny because I actually got like maybe like 10 PS2 games. I got very few video games, which is crazy because me and you are buddies, and like you're like totally into it, and I'm like totally, I know what I know, and that's about it. But I got Gears of War 3, which is a game that we played all the fucking time back. Me, my brother, my cousin. Horde mode, we'd go on. I think it was called like Sand Dune or something like that. It was like this crazy map, but we would play it all the time. But that's like the only Xbox 360 game I own, and then I got my PS2 shit, and that's it, man. But I do appreciate like older games. Like nowadays, like I can't even I couldn't even turn one on because it would just fucking turn me off. You know what I mean? Like I see the stuff now and it's like, come on, man, it's all online. I was always so anti-online stuff because like I loved the story modes. I remember I got GTA 4, beat it in like a couple of weeks, and then I sold it. And then everyone was like, "Oh, it's like online, like GTA Online." And I tried it, and I was like, "This is kind of like what you do when you're with your buddies at your house, I guess. Like everyone would pass the controller around, like try to get as many stars as you could. But when it's
Right.
online, it's just too. I can't get into it. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying that it's not for me. And as it may or may not have once been. Like I kind of played Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and that's about as far as my online experience goes with video games, which is seems like so long ago now.
Your most modern video game experience, you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, I mean, it's not hard to understand. I mean, you got other shit going on. Not everyone's into just playing video games or into keeping up with video games. I mean, for me, I've been so disconnected from modern video games as a whole unless it's a horror video game. So for me, there are great spans of time, or an RPG, great spans of time that go on in between me playing a modern game and just going back and playing old shit that I either never played or replaying shit that I played 100 times over, and that keeps me entertained. Um, the weird thing about that is I'm starting to see where where at least where I'm starting to look and feel like the old guy in the video game scene, like the fact that I can go back and play like Resident Evil 2 over and over and over and over and over again. It's almost like watching my dad, where he could go back and play like, Galaga over and over and over and over and over and never get sick of something like that. And I mean, that's the point where I'm at with modern video games and the video game industry as a whole. But with that, I think we should start the
Yeah,
actual podcast.
yeah.
Um, Hold My Power Up, soon to be probably the best retro video game, movie, toy podcast on the platform, I would
I,
have to say, aside from mine and Ricky's horror video podcast that we've
oh, you
done
mean
before.
the annual, like the once a year podcast that we do? Eh?
We should do it more often. We really should, because um, I have to say, out of everyone on YouTube that I've met throughout the years, and well, haven't met in person, but have kept close contact with over the years. Ricky is probably one of the I would consider the inner circle as far as my YouTube friends. So, yeah, so episode 1 starting strong. We got a horror indie director, Ricky Paradis. Did I say your last name right? Paradis,
Yes,
or is it Paradise?
it's Paradise.
I always want to call you Paradise when I see your last name,
A
but
lot of people want to say parody. They think it's parody, and I say I'm not a parody, motherfucker.
I mean, you're not
I'm a
French either.
satire. No, I'm not French either. I live in Ontario, but I appreciate your little intro there. That makes me feel good.
Well, I didn't even get to finish it. I
Oh,
mean,
continue.
he's got his own video company, Videohomicide. He's also a very hardcore horror film collector, and he's got a upcoming event. And as a close friend of Ricky's and also a admirer of horror indie films in general, I'm also very happy for him. I wish I could be there. I actually did research to try to like get to Canada in time to be there. But Canada made it almost impossible for people from America to get there. But he has two horror films that are going to be shown at this year's Shock Stock in London, Ontario. The Wallet, which he made in 2020, and Old Man, that he made in 2022. So, Ricky, with that little introduction from me aside, tell us about yourself.
Well, you know, I think we both kind of fall into the same category as like, kids from I don't know what year you were born. I was born in 92. I think we've probably discussed the ages before,
Born
but
in '88.
okay, so we're from like the same. Like I watched Ninja Turtles and all that shit. Like I watched Ninja Turtles more than Transformers or GI Joe or any of that kind of stuff. I didn't even really
Yeah, Power
acknowledge
Ranger.
that. Yeah, I didn't really acknowledge that shit, but was always into movies like since I can remember. My dad was showing me everything that he watched, I watched. So even if it scared the fuck out of me for and scarred me for years, we watched it. Like a lot of those early uh, 2000s films that were, when I watch them now, I laugh. But the one movie that sticks out in my head the most is House on Haunted Hill, the remake. And I don't even know why that movie scares me because it's so fucking ridiculous. But
I actually
it
like that
cracked.
movie.
I
I
love
like
that
that
movie.
movie for the fact that they got a guy that was kind of not all the way Vincent Price, but he looks kind of like Vincent Price and
He
acts
had the
all fucked
Vincent
up
Price
like
vibe.
Vincent Price.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that was Jeffrey Rush. Uh, but he was the guy that was in not Planet of the Apes, fucking Pirates of the Caribbean. He was the one pirate from the first movie that was when he was in the moonlight, he would turn into a skeleton. I forget what his name was, but I love those fucking pirates movies.
I didn't even know that. That's some fun facts for you.
Yeah, but that like movies that scared the shit out of me, and not just that movie. Like I don't want to say that I was destined to be a movie fan because of the fucking remake of House on Haunted Hill, but it was being scared of movies and stuff that really turned me on to it. So, uh, Exorcist,
Mhm.
one of my favorites. I love a lot of weird horror films from the 70s. A lot of like the video nasties of like the late 70s, early 80s, movies that were banned in the UK for whatever reasons. And when you watch them now, it's kind of ridiculous. And like one of the most notorious video nasties is Cannibal Holocaust. And
Right.
like I feel like people feel the need, and I've even felt the need in the past to be like, like I don't agree with the killing of the animal, and like point that out and like make it about that, and like it's this whole thing about it, man. To me, like it's just a good fucking movie, and if you can't handle it, then don't watch it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm tired. The reason I'm so pissed about it is because I just watched a video on YouTube, which is like slowly turning into like nothing but drama channels and bullshit channels, stuff I don't give a fuck about. But
Right.
this guy was talking about Cannibal Holocaust. He's like, yeah, like I don't like watching this movie or something. And it's like, well, why the fuck are you making like a half-hour review on it about something you don't like? It makes no
Right.
sense to me. And
Why did
make it all about a
why did
fucking
you watch
scene.
it?
They make it all about the one scene where this fucking turtle gets killed. It gets its head chopped off. It's not like they fucking like poke it to death with a toothpick. You know what I mean? And then they eat it like right there in front of you. It's like those people that are turned off to that have obviously never had to get their own food. You know what I'm saying? They go to the fucking supermarket and they grab a chicken breast off of the meat rack as opposed to killing a chicken, and you know what I'm
No, I don't
saying?
remember. I don't remember exactly. The turtle scene was the turtle being killed because the hunter people were hunting it, or were the people killing the turtle because they thought it was fun to kill the turtle?
No, they killed it to eat it. If you go,
Okay,
but
see, I don't even I don't.
they literally
I've seen the
fucking
whole movie, and still, look, the animal kill scenes. Well, I remember them, but I don't remember them being the key parts of the film. Like those aren't the parts that stick out in my mind.
Exactly, but we live in a fucking era where you have, like, before you even discuss the film, you gotta quickly say, like, I don't agree with that, and fuck all that, man. I miss the days of where it could just be like, man, this is like a sick movie. There's some twisted stuff in it. When a fucking spider gets hit with a machete and I'm supposed to, don my picket sign and go march the streets. No way, man.
I
Was that
mean,
too hard?
it's
Was that too brutal of me to say? I felt like I was
no,
just.
no, it's not. You know why? Because everything that we see today, whether it become movies or video games, which is perfect because it ties into the game we're going to talk about later today. Um, Everything ties into people being either too sensitive or needing to feel like, oh, I don't like it, so it shouldn't exist. And I'm going to make sure I do everything in my power to make sure it doesn't exist. Um,
You gotta do
or
that thing with
talk
the
shit, or talk
glasses.
shit about it. Yeah, I fucking hate people like that. I fucking hate seeing YouTube channels like that. I hate reading Twitter for that reason. Um, I see so much of it where people are just. I get it. We're living in the most sensitive time ever fucking created on the earth. I feel like everyone is a gigantic pussy for some reason now, at least on the internet that we see. You can't just review a movie for the movie's sake. Like, I don't even review movies as much as I used to anymore for the fact I don't want to be tied into the people that are sitting there complaining about fucking movies. When I review a movie and I'm pissed off about it, like the Resident Evil movie that came out, it's because I legit am upset that they raped the franchise, in my opinion, that they did something really, really bad to that license. It's not for me to have some sort of like, I'm a I'm a social justice warrior, and you know what? Those animals from fucking 40 years ago need to be spoken up for.
Yeah,
That's why the movie was fucking banned in the first place. There's a lot of those hippie fucks like you, so just shut up.
yeah. It's
So that's I would say is a very raw take. There you go.
Yeah.
There's my
So
take
yeah,
on
to
it.
open the show on such a light note, we both had to have our little rant. But you know what, man? It's true because you know, we're both kind of cut from the same cloth in certain ways in terms of like the shit we're into, or like how we kind of collect or go about our fandom, if you want to call it that. There is a certain amount of fanaticalism, as when it comes to this stuff, because of course we hold this shit like very personal. That's why sometimes emotions flare like that, and you definitely can take it personal. And I certainly do with certain things. You know what I mean? Like, even like now, like when you think of Pokemon, like the Game Boy games. Like I
Yeah.
sent you that photo of the game that was I think the game was like 300, and the
Yeah.
Game Boy was 200, and I was like thinking in my head, like, man, like that's like my childhood right there, and it's $500. Like they're putting a five
Now
hundred
could
dollar.
you now could you imagine what you're telling me right now and the picture you sent me? Could you imagine saying to your dad, uh, it's like it's something from his childhood, a toy or a record player or something like that. Hey, Dad, do you want this? Well, you got to pay like $1,000 for it. Like
Yeah,
that doesn't exist for our parents. That doesn't exist for our grandparents. That's like something that I feel like is only going to exist in our generation because everything else after our generation or before is either too old that no one gives a fuck about it, or right in the middle before everything was digital. Everyone after us was all like given everything by the power of the internet, which do love the conveniency, but at the same time, obviously, we like owning all this shit physically because that's what we had. Um, we're the only generation I feel that are going to see the nostalgia tax on top of everything that we had.
that's good, man. Nostalgia tax. That's a fucking perfect way to put it. Yeah, because like I have a few video game stores in my city, but I use them for their movies that they sell because a lot of them have like good deals, like 5 for 10 if they're $3 kind of thing. So you can go out there and like recently, like I found like some really killer stuff. But I was looking at the video game stuff. That's when I snapped those photos because I was like, man, like that's crazy. Uh, and to and even PS2 games like Def Jam Fight for New York, which is like one of my favorites. It's like an expensive video game. Like I'm talking like over $100 I've seen it, and that blows my fucking mind. Uh, and even movie games like Conker's Bad Fur Day, which is a game that like literally blew my balls because it was blew my balls off. Sorry. It was one of the first games I ever see that was like violent, cutesy, and parodying like movies, which was like what I was totally interested in at the time, and still am, like,
Right.
because I love to draw and shit like that. So, but to see these things like these relics of the past or whatever you call them, uh, for so expensive, it just kind of drives you nuts. And it's like, one day I would love like for like my kid, like future kid, to be able to play like a Game Boy with Pokemon and be like, like this is fun, and
Yeah.
I think any kid, like, I'm sure that the game was in multiple languages, like, uh, in fact, I'm pretty positive that it was, but, you could go up to a kid in Germany or like a kid in Africa or wherever the fuck, and if you have the Pokemon cartridge, then they know if they're a certain
Yeah.
age. But now when I see it, it's so like modernized, and I'm not saying it's not good. I haven't played it. I haven't played a new Pokemon game since um, me and my brother both got. I think it was like gold or silver, and it was in like a big box. It was on DS. It was like a remaster or something, and
Mm.
that was the last time I played it, and it was awesome. And it was like a remake of Gold, I think, or some bullshit. But anyways, uh, it was great. But now it just like to me, I need it simple, and like that's sort of like the rule that I think they forgot about. Like keep it simple, stupid. You know what I mean? Because I would never love to. I've
They ain't
never.
broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, like I don't want to see the Pokemon games get all turned into a fucking World of Warcraft like setup. You know what I mean? If that makes sense, like because maybe I'm a purist in
No,
that way.
it makes sense because the newest Pokemon game that just came out, Aculus or whatever the hell you pronounce it, like I've seen videos of it, and it looks like they try to do like they're trying to make it into like Skyrim, like some sort of open world RPG. You know when that would have been nice? When the fucking N64 was out at the time. That's when you could have done something like that, and it would have been a revolutionary thing. Now it just looks super cheap and not good.
It
Like
looks
it
like
doesn't look
everything
good.
else looks like.
Yeah.
Literally, man, all
Right.
that new shit looks exactly the fucking same to me. I don't know if it's Call of Duty or if it's fucking this or that. Uh, you know, and like that's the thing. Like maybe I'm like not the best authority on this on video game topics, but what the games that I love, like again, like I hold near and dear, like we do with all this stuff, and games like the game we're going to talk about tonight, and games like Mark Echo's Getting Up, which was like one of my entrance ways into like graffiti art and stuff, which became like a big passion of mine for a while, and I totally loved it. And the game is just so fucking awesome and so fun, and now everything is just like because I don't follow any video game channels, but I follow people that talk about video games from time to time, like I'm sure you're familiar with Some Ordinary Gamers. I think we've talked about
Oh yeah,
our
yeah,
shared
yeah.
liking of that
Yeah,
guy.
dude, I remember watching his channel back when I first started on YouTube, so 2013. Like I only started watching his channel because the only thing he was doing at the time was let's plays of video games, and they were horror games that I was already talking about, like Manhunt or uh, whatever else he was doing. Manhunt's the one thing I remember following his channel for because I mean I love that game, and I thought his commentary was funny at the time. I don't watch his channel very much now because most of the time he talks about like cryptocurrencies and other shit that I don't give a fuck about.
Yeah,
But
that shit I could give a fuck about either. Yeah, and that's sort of like the thing with modern channels, YouTube channels like that, right? Like you kind of gotta deal with a lot of bullshit, and you might get like one video a month, kind of depending on their upload schedule. Like for me personally, like I would like to make like as many videos as I could, but it's just sometimes it's a pain in the ass, you know what I mean? And I don't want to like force it. I never want to
Right.
force the videos or anything like that. So the last thing that I really put out, other than that movie, Old Man, was just a couple of little how do you do hauls, you know what I mean? Nothing too insane, but
I totally feel you on that. That's why the upload schedule, at least for my channel, is like so sporadic at times because I'll come home from work and I'm like, fuck this. I'm not gonna sit here and edit for fucking like 7 hours to get 150 views on a video. And like sometimes it's that battle in my head on like I'm not young anymore to when I first began on the platform. I'm on almost the 10th year. This year when it becomes November is going to be the 10th year of me doing this. And I had one channel deleted by or terminated by YouTube and had to rebuild, and the channel and YouTube has changed so much even since then, since 2015 when I had to come back. And now it's like you can't even get the same kind of views because YouTube purposely doesn't push you out anymore. It purposely doesn't do anything anymore. It doesn't, when you look at your YouTube studio thing,
sorry, man. It's just a guy outside his fucking car.
fucking chainsaw, the fuck?
Yeah, I mean,
Sound like Leatherface
Texas.
out front.
Yeah,
Anyway, what I was gonna say was YouTube is just not what it is. It's not a secret to anyone that does YouTube. With the thing that I like about your channel a lot and other channels like yours is that for if it was YouTube back in the day, you would have been a top tier channel. You would have been the angry video game nerd. You would have been a Spoonie. You would have been the nostalgia critic for the shit that you're doing right now. It's exactly the same. It's higher quality, and it's authentic. The thing is now the platform has changed so much to where it's all about commercialism and Jimmy Kimmel having a fucking YouTube channel and Jack Black just saying like acting like a jackass on YouTube. That's what sells now. So no one gets fucking YouTube views anymore because that's just the way it is. So for me, when I do reviews, it takes a long time. It's something that I like to do. I don't make any money off of it except for when someone donates to me. It's just something that I've always liked to do because it's like, you know what? I like these things. I want to talk about these things. But then there gets a point where you get struck down so many times, or the video gets blocked, or you have to re-edit the thing because you used 5 seconds of a song that was in the video game. I mean,
yeah.
there's just so many things. But yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that.
Well, I kind of know what you mean because like I feel like there's so much people on YouTube that had to shift their focus to the drama channel or just talking shit channels and stuff, not so much focusing on what they got started with. Like Angry Video Game Nerd obviously took like a big hit in you know I know that they said that he or it was proven that his videos were like a couple of them were plagiarized like during the Monster Madness thing and all that, and it's like, dude, like where's the passion, dude? You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing. I think once these fuckers turn it into a career, they stop giving a fuck about what they're what they like, and they just focus on what's going to pay the next bill,
Right.
because it's not like if you like if I was getting paid to talk about movies, that would be fucking awesome. Like, and I would make a video every day, but I wouldn't forget that.
That's kind of like what magazines used to be.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of magazines, let me quickly shout out this magazine right here. It's called All We Need Is Sleaze, and this is
Okay.
the heavy metal sleaze party issue. This is put out by a dude named Mike Giallo. But anyways, he hit me up, and I got some of my art in this magazine. So there's one of them right
Oh,
there.
holy shit. Wow.
Yeah, he actually used I think 4 of my things I drew this chick. It's got like
Oh yeah,
the little thing down there that says
big
Videohomicide.
Judy right there.
Yeah. And then this skull.
Dude, that's fucking sick.
Yeah, and I drew this as well. This thing that says hold your hail your celluloid.
I know no one that's listening to the audio can see any of this, but he's showing all of his artwork that's in the magazine. A
Yeah.
fucking public magazine.
Yeah. Well, it's not like a it's sort of like a fanzine, but it's like high
Dude,
quality. This is the
that's
most
high quality and full color. That's not cheap.
No, this is you can get this through the All We Need Is Sleaze website, and
What about your magazine? I know you have an indie zine.
yeah, I have an indie zine called uh, it's an art zine. It's an art collaboration between me and Radioactive Blob Fuel, who doesn't make YouTube videos, but Danny B from the Trash Dash, he makes YouTube videos, and we made Cinema 187. This is the first issue, and it has art from all of us, and it has art from my friend Kyle. But Radioactive Blob Fuel did like a full on I think like 10-page or 13-page comic of natural born killers. Like his
Oh wow.
dude, and it's fucking cool, man. Like he's rare. Like this is funny, but you can see that this is like the part when Rodney Dangerfield's grabbing the girl's ass, and he's like, "When your ass is in my house, it's my ass."
That's pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah, I edited this, put it all together.
So you're like
yeah.
you're like multifaceted in like the shit that you're doing. You're an indie horror director who's having his film shown at a fucking another film festival, which is one of the I think probably the biggest horror film festivals in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, Shockstock is one of those things that I hear about constantly that I wish I could go to. I was planning on going to before the COVID shit happened, like before COVID was a thing.
Yeah.
And now it almost seems like it's going to be like it's not something I'm going to be I would have to plan a whole year ahead to make sure I can even get into the country.
Yeah, just to quickly clarify, I wouldn't say that it's the world like the biggest horror film festival. It's a really awesome horror con, but that has a festival attached. But there is other more maybe what you might call prestigious horror film festivals like in Toronto. Like there's Blood in the Snow, which I've submitted to and I've never been able to get in. But I submit to various places that I can get to and see. You know what I mean? Like I like to be able to see it in the theater. I've had one of them played in Japan in 2018. It was called Bloodstained. I think it's just called the Bloodstained Horror Festival or something like that. But it's like $50 or $60 to submit to them now. Like when you go on these like film festival websites, like Film Freeway is the one I use. To submit a movie to a film festival can go from anywhere from free up to like hundreds of dollars. You know what I mean? And like the more that they cost, I guess you could say like the more chances you have, to be able to actually be seen. Because if it's a free one, everyone's gonna submit to it. It's gonna be on some online thing, and it's not gonna be like what you want it to be.
Put it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Not put it on YouTube at that point and start your own website.
Yeah, but Shockstock is just like a super cool sort of tight knit. Like a lot of the same people are there every year. A lot of the same sellers and stuff selling cool stuff, and it's just like a really big party. Unfortunately, like this year, even if you were able to come up this year, it would have been a shitty time because I got to work Friday night and Friday night until Saturday morning, and then Sunday 7 to 7. So like I miss Sunday completely. Going Friday is still kind of up in the air.
You just gotta tell your job, man, that you're showing films, man. Like you're doing your thing.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, fuck off."
That doesn't sound very Canadian.
Yeah, no. Oh fuck, Pete, man. They don't give a fuck. They don't care if you sleep at all, man. Like yesterday, so Tuesday, I worked 7 to 3. Right, almost as soon as I showed up, my boss is like, "Hey man, are you able to come in 11 to 7 tonight?" Because the one guy's dad like tested for COVID or some shit. I was like, God damn it! But I was like, fuck it, I'll do it because now I don't have right now. Wednesday night. I don't go back to work till Friday night. So like I feel
Okay.
like I have like a decent amount of
Yeah,
time
that's
off.
good.
But um, what I was getting at is I'm only going to really be able to enjoy the Saturday there. And I have a movie playing Friday and a movie playing Saturday. So I'm like, do I fucking, give up some sleep to go and pay $25 to see my movie, or just wait until the next day and then pay $25 one, like, and it's not about like the $25, but it's like, it's far out of the way, like from my work especially. Like, what am I going to show up with my fucking work clothes and then, just hang out at this horror con for a few, like, and I
I
don't even.
mean, why don't you just keep your personal clothes in your car and drive up there? Fucking change right there in the parking lot. I've done that. I will do that.
My personal clothes. I have my personal clothes in the trunk here. And
Yeah,
and but
fuck
this
it.
is this is also the thing. Like, I'm going like with people on Saturday. Like, my uncle's gonna go, my dad's gonna go.
You're gonna film everyone's reaction to your film.
Probably not. Just because I would
No,
feel like like that's the thing. Like, I like to. I still try to live inside the moment with certain shit.
you don't have to do it. I mean, you set up a stationary camera and you.
Yeah, but I just don't want to have to bring that shit with me and then be like, "Hey guys, like, here I am." Like, you know what I mean? I just
I
I'm
don't know. I think it's a cool idea, but
no,
I
it's a
totally
cool
get
it's
I
a
get what you're
cool
saying.
yeah, it's a cool
If I was
idea, but
there, I would film it. I would film it for you. I would watch the crowd for
and
you.
I respect that, but I'm probably gonna be fucking high as a kite, and I'm just gonna be like wanting to watch my movie and not worry about like fucking this. As soon as I turn it on, the flash goes off. Some guy go down in front or some shit. Do you know what's
Well,
crazy?
actually, that'd be the good thing. You wouldn't need a flash because they're all going to be backlit by the movie. But what I also enjoy about your films is that it's very in-house. It's all your family.
Yes.
So that's fucking awesome. The only person I could get to do that would be my dad. I mean, if anyone had ever seen one of my game reviews where I did Friday the 13th on NES, Jason Voorhees was my dad in that video. My dad would be the only person willing to do something like that. I just think it's really cool that you can get not only your dad but your brother. You probably get your girlfriend if you needed to in the film, or to film for you, or to do
She
something
does
for
all
you.
the special effects. She does all the
So
special effects.
in the wallet, when your dad is looking in the mirror,
Yeah.
he legitimately looks like a fucking corpse
Yeah,
in the
that's
mirror.
Kayla. She did all that makeup on him. It was crazy, man. It was crazy to see. Like, one thing about it is, like, since it is like my little brother and my dad, it's crazy to see this happen, like, in front of you. Like, especially if you go back to some of like the earlier, well, technically like the earlier films that I did were like 2012, but like the early good ones that I was like being serious about, like starting from 2017 onward. uh, my dad would be like covered in blood, or like my brother would be covered in blood and like laying on the floor. And it's been interesting, but it's been fun. They're easy to work with. That we all work together. I keep it small, and you know what? The best part about it is we're having fun with it. It's not like I'm doing this because I wanna be bitching. I'm doing it because I genuinely love it. I love watching them. Sometimes I go like a few months and then I'll be like, you know what, I should just fucking watch those movies, man. And I always have a blast watching them. And I'm like, man, like I all the memories of like making it. Like, I remember we did one specifically. It was called Midnight Marauder, and it was supposed to be like this video store deal, and like this, like this whole deal happens. But there's a shot where my dad is like standing in front of the camera, and he's got like the full makeup on, and it's heavy duty. And it's actually this image right here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on this DVD, but right here, uh, to see
That's
that,
pretty. That's pretty creepy looking.
yeah, to see that in person, I'm high as fuck, right? And I'm seeing this in person, and I'm like, bro, this is unreal. I couldn't believe it. I remember specifically saying, and it's probably in the footage, and I have all the footage. I'm pretty sure there's a shot of me saying, that's some fucking Freddy Krueger shit. like I said that, like that's some Freddy Krueger shit, and that's the only way I can describe it because I hold Freddy Krueger in high regards. Like the first three movies, the rest of them can fuck themselves. I don't care. I don't care who
Yeah.
if you love them or not,
I love
whatever.
1 and 2. 1 and 2 are probably my favorite just because of how all the practical effects of those first 2 films
Oh
are.
yeah, oh yeah, and
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 well,
and all
and
the
the second one, that school bus scene where they're sitting on the fucking cliff,
I love it.
like,
I love it.
oh man.
The scene where Freddy comes out of Jesse, you know what I mean?
And his
Like there's
arms are distended.
oh fuck, it's so good, man. Like what's
This is God, and chops his fingers off. I love that part.
yeah, that's in part one. That's
Yeah,
part
I
one.
love
Yeah.
that part.
Part two, the scene where he comes out of that guy, and
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
not only that, but like there's that scene. Like I love all of the banter. I've never really been too big for one-liner stuff, and like I don't like the later Freddy's and shit like that. But uh, I love how he has like this banter with I think the guy's name's Brady or Grady or something like that, like the jock buddy, and like they
Oh
always
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
have like these back and forth things where they're both like doing push-ups beside each other and like having like this like stupid like argument.
It felt like Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It felt like one of those kinds of movies, but it had Freddy involved. And
Right.
like I loved the dad who was also the boss in Return of the Living Dead, and he's like
You're right.
he's like you could smell gas or something, and he's like moving the
Yeah.
stove, and he's like, your mother says you can smell gas and all this stuff, and he goes, I know what he did. He fucking used a cherry bomb or some bullshit. Like he has all these like funny things to say, but really I really do love that.
Weird shit in that second part movie. The part where he's like dancing in his room, acting like a fucking idiot. It's like
Yeah, but they do stupid shit back then. Like
a bird that just
Yeah.
explodes for no reason.
yeah. Yeah,
Anyway.
that's what the cherry bomb thing was about. Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
and then he's like,
Cherry bomb up the bird's ass.
there's nothing wrong with that air conditioner. It just needs a shot of antifreeze. No, it just needs a shot of fuck, what the hell is it in
Freon.
Freon? It needs a shot of Freon. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Great movies.
Yeah. But
So-
yeah, no, that's just to get back onto the film real quick, and like the thing at Shock Stock, like for the last, this is the 4th year I've had something play at Shock Stock. This is the 2nd time that it's been a double feature kind of deal, and the thing that I like about it the most is if even like just being a part of that type of subculture, whatever you want to call it, it just brings me like a certain amount of joy, and it's all sort of like I love to make the movies and to show them at just like any film festival, because there's a million of them, right? It's one thing, but to have it play at like an actual horror festival, even if there's only like a couple of people watching it, it's still cool as fuck to me, like being able to watch it with an audience.
As an outsider looking in, what's commendable about something like that is that anyone, I say this all the time, anyone can just do the shit that's on YouTube. Anyone could do something like that. You're in the personal safety space of your house. You're not really worrying about your viewers seeing your work in a big place where you can see them interact with each other. Doing a film and being there to see your audience in live time is something completely different, and it's something that it's an experience that most people are never going to have. It's an experience that you're going to be able to share for the rest of your life. And I think it's, as much as I don't like calling people artists, because I kind of feel like it's like an insulting term for some reason. I know it's kind of like bred into me from watching movies, like calling people artists is like insulting. But being an artist, being able to see people react to your art in real time, I would think is very rewarding compared to maybe a comment on the internet. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, definitely. Like that's the thing. Like you can't read a comment and even if I wrote you a comment, you'd never know what type of way I was saying it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like to see your shit played, and like, it's cool. Like the best part of it is like at the end, and like when people clap. You know what I mean? And like you're like, God damn, like that's like the most probably my favorite part about it. And I'll be able to see one of them this year in theater. I'll be able to see the wallet in the screening room. So hopefully that goes well. It'll be the Saturday night, so I'm sure people will. Well, it's Saturday about 5:30 or something that they start. Like that block starts, and it's going to be played with a bunch of other films, and I can't wait to see them. Like there's always that's another cool thing about it. It's not just like, oh, like it's my little short film playing. It's like it's a collaboration. It's like seeing a mixtape of short films put together from all over the world. Like we've seen German ones, Chinese ones, Italian ones, all that, like everything, and they all been put together, and it's like the only time you'll ever see this block of films together, and it's cool because every year Shockstock puts together like a little brochure, kind of like much like these zines that I was showing, uh, and like my name's in it, and it's really badass, you know. And not only that, but it's satisfying to know. Like one year, I burnt like 50 copies of two of my short films and put them in paper discs with a sticker and handed them out for free. And like who knows what happened to all those discs?
That's really cool.
You know what
See,
I
that
mean?
reminds me of like Warp Tour or something like that. As a teenager going to see like bands or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I can't tell you how many bands gave me CDs that were not a part of the show, that were just waiting outside of the event. And
Yeah.
I've had their CDs for years and have listened to them, and I'm like, man, I wish I knew what happened to this band after this.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like sort of the, like with zines and with, stickers and, short films and stuff. It's like a good way to like sort of, just sneak your way into people's collections or whatever, and just be part of something, because there's so many, um, you know, dying things that we love, like in terms of physical media, especially. Like, I don't mean it's dying, but it's definitely slowing down. It's becoming expensive as fuck. I think even for you guys in the States, like, it's becoming expensive, like, to the point of, like, you know what, fuck, like, food is, like, expensive enough, I'm not gonna, like, spend $50 on a goddamn DVD. Like, I'm not gonna do it, and that really halts my collecting,
Right.
and like, even, like, with Shockstock, like, I have a certain amount of money set aside, that I may or may not even spend any of.
I mean,
I mean, I'll definitely spend money, but I mean, like, I'm not just gonna buy random shit. Like, I'm
yeah.
after specific
I mean,
stuff.
tapes that we've had conversations before, not only in private but on our podcast that we've done about horror, just horror movies in general. Tapes, we could get tapes for cents, like not even 5 years ago, and now I'm seeing tapes that I bought for a penny or more, like penny or 5 cents. I've seen tapes, those kind of tapes, go for now like $20, $30, and what the fuck is going on? Where it's like, dude, VHS tapes are not like video games where you buy a console, you buy a Super Nintendo console, and it lasts you another 50 years probably. VHS players fucking break all the time. Tapes fucking tear like no fucking other. You have to physically repair those motherfuckers when that
I got
happens.
a video on my channel of how to do that if anybody needs to have that done.
I mean, I'm sure that's really helpful. I've had to do it with home videos from when I was a child
Oh yeah.
that got eaten by a VHS player that I've had to physically repair just so I could transfer them over digitally so it wouldn't happen again. Because I mean, as much as I love the tapes and everything behind me, um, eventually one day I'm not going to be able to get a VHS player because either they're going to be too expensive or they're all going to be so fucked up beyond belief. They're going to be the next, like a Laserdisc player. Like you're not going to fucking find them.
Yeah, I would recommend. I got three personally. Like, I got one in my room. I got two VHS DVD combos, and I got one VCR. Um, because that's gonna definitely happen, and that's the thing. Like even now, like if I have the movie on DVD, I'll watch it on DVD over the VHS tape like 100% of the time. But sometimes there's movies that I just don't have, and I like to watch, and it just you can see this becoming like it already is very archaic it's like especially like if I watch one of my dad's old movies that he taped off TV or whatever or did a dub of. I'm highly aware of like the archaeological artifact that it is, that there's been other stuff taped on here and all that shit that goes with it. It's just so fascinating to me, and like it's the format that I grew up with, the format that I love, and I'll always collect it. But I've definitely honed down the collection. Unless they're like a movie that I really really want to keep on tape, I'm pretty much have gotten rid of it or whatever. You know what I mean? Just because there's no point in having multiple copies of stuff when space is already such an issue. You know what I mean?
Right.
For my collection, it's like behind me, like that's probably like, I don't know, I would say like 70% of the collection. The rest of it's in boxes, man, or in my room, just like it sucks. And tapes are heavy, man. You get a couple of fucking big Tupperware things
Oh
of
yeah.
tapes, like, you gotta strategically place them somewhere because,
Yeah. Like the shelf behind me, my shelf will hold tapes, two, I don't know how you would say it, two tier, where there's a full tape on the back and then you can fully stack another full frontal of fucking tapes. So, I mean, that's easily on this one shelf, and that's only what I keep in the office just because it's something I can easily grab. I know I'm immediately going to watch if I want to on a whim. A lot of shit I have in boxes in the fucking garage on top of boxes
yeah.
or in the attic. But it's like easily on this thing, there's at least like 200 to maybe 300 tapes on one fucking shelf. One fucking bookshelf. That's a lot. And that shit's heavy. And I fucking hate taking it down when I move all the shit around in my office because it takes fucking forever because it's the heaviest fucking thing.
Yeah.
But
Not only that, but
yeah,
it's like it's fucking awkward to move like stacks of tapes, and like a stack always falls, and you're always like, "Fuck!"
right. And
It never
then you
fails.
start getting like crazy and you're like, well, do I want these tapes in front or do I want these tapes in front or do I want to organize it this way?
Yeah.
And why the fuck do I own 3 copies of this one tape? Oh, I know why. It's because this one's a variant and this one's a variant and this one's a variant of that variant.
And that's where it comes into like annoying bullshit with collecting. You know what I mean? Like when you like obviously I understand and I've done it myself, but I'm saying like devil's advocate style. Like isn't it a pain in the ass to have to buy multiple copies of something just to fucking
It's not when it's cheap. It's not when
if
it's
it's
cheap.
cheap,
Now,
it's awesome. But when it's like,
yeah.
you know,
Now I would never even consider it because back then when I would buy variant tapes, when I would find them, literally cents, not even a fucking dollar. It's like less than 10 cents. I would walk out of stores carrying like 5 bags of fucking VHS tapes back not even 5 years ago. That's how I built most of this fucking collection was just going into a store. Holy shit, these tapes are a cent. A cent.
a penny.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, weird. Anyway, I like the tapes. The shit's gonna become so obscure one day. I like that the fact that a lot of tapes that I own aren't on a DVD. A lot of movies and films are not. For people that don't know this, I know it's a video game podcast, but a lot of people don't know that there are so many films that have never been transferred to DVD, never been done digital, never have made that crossover. That once they're gone and people just don't give a fuck anymore, they're gone forever. I can't imagine how many tapes or not tapes, but how many films over the years even way before our time, have been lost to the sands of time just because they were never ever brought over. I mean, fucking film, real film, that shit fucking disintegrates, you know?
It's heavy too, man.
So, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's heavy. Like to get like a fucking movie shipped, you're looking at like five, like what, like 15 to 20 pound reels. It was like $5,000. Like back in the day, it was like $5,000 to ship a film print from Europe to the States. And
Ugh.
like that's like ridiculous. And then not only that, but then you're shipping it around the States or up to Canada or to Mexico, whatever the fuck. Like it's it's crazy, and I don't want it to become like, even though it already kind of has, it's become like this like niche collector of like some like 18 to 20-year-old kid has like a copy of Pulp Fiction and Fargo on their fucking shelf, you know what I mean, and nothing else. And it sucks, but at the same time, let people discover shit how they discover. It's like I was listening to this one radio thing or whatever it was, and the guy was saying like, just let these fucking kids have their time, let them have their era, because we had our era, and fuck it, just let them be dipshits or whatever. But this doesn't really have anything to do with what I was just saying, but like it does piss me off in a way that it became like this thing that drove up the prices and stuff, because like you said, like we used to be able to buy like bags of movies for like a couple of bucks, and now it's just everything's cleared out. It's
Well, I
bullshit.
mean, it ties perfectly into what we're talking about with this in this podcast format. People that collect video games can easily relate to this. I was buying NES games less than 5 years ago for a fraction of what if I wanted to try to buy them for now. I could go buy The Legend of Zelda, the gold cart complete in box for probably $40 maybe 4 years ago. Now that shit goes for like 80, almost $100 now if you wanted it complete. That's fucking ridiculous. The one thing that I always talk about, Mario Duck Hunt, the game that came with every NES system, probably the most highly produced NES game ever fucking created, was the Mario Duck Hunt combo cart. I have so many of them that I use them as fucking coasters on my fucking desk that I could. They should be cents on the dollar, like VHS tapes were, still to this day, and yet I see them at retro video game stores and online for $10, $10 for the fucking most common cart that you could ever fucking find. You go anywhere and everyone's gonna have the one video game cart that has Mario Duck Hunt on it.
Yeah, everyone I knew had it.
Everyone has it. Everyone and their mother fucking had it. Even if their grandma owned the NES and they only bought the fucking casino games or Wheel of Fortune because they loved the fucking stupid show so much that they wanted to play Wheel of Fortune at home. I guarantee it came with fucking Mario Duck Hunt probably.
Yo, a good time if you got like some buddies together getting fucked up or whatever, Jeopardy or Double Dare on NES, riot, because the questions are so shitty. It's like it's so fun, but um yeah, that like charging $10 for Mario 1, which in my opinion is like the worst Mario. Like I don't even like that one. Like out of the three that were on like NES, like I liked number 2 and I like number 3 the most. I think a lot of people probably like number 3 the most. And
3 is probably the highest rated as far as the three Mario games. I still really love the first Mario game just because
yeah,
it
I'm
was
not
the
I'm
first
not saying,
Mario
yeah.
game.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that I don't love it. I'm just saying like out of those 3, if I had a choice, I was always going for Mario 3. And we had like the uh
Tuki Suit.
what the fuck was the manual? We had the manual for that game, and it was like awesome. And I used to draw everything that was in it, and it was so badass. And like even like I was just talking about Grand Theft Auto with my buddy, and it's like, remember the game came with like a sick poster and like an awesome like little parody like manual that just had like a bunch of like random shit in it, and all those
Yep.
other games had cool manuals. And now like you get nothing. You get like an eco case that you could fucking bend in half with your pinky,
I know.
which is a piss off.
You ever seen Remo Williams, the film
No.
Remo Williams? Oh man, there's a Chinese guy in the movie, and he has this move called the Shinanju, where he can like literally poke a hole through someone's chest with his two fingers. I could do that with a fucking video game case nowadays. I could just
Yeah,
Shinanju
you ain't
right through
doing
it.
that with a PS2 case though.
No, fuck no.
No, PS2 cases are built to last, man. Like fuck, they all have like that one thing about them though. They always in the top right corner, they're always gonna have like from where a sticker was. You know what I mean? Because like unless you luck out,
Unless you have your original one from when they were first out, yeah.
yeah. Like, and that's the thing. Like PS2 was my era that I love. When I think of video games, that's what I think of. Because like since this is a video game show, I just want to, because I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the podcast that I wasn't like big into gaming and stuff. Like I had my era, you know what I mean? Like trust me, it's just my love for it is still there. It's just I don't personally do it. Like to give you the background, I had we got an NES that was my cousin's, or that was like my grandma's or something. My cousin had a NES, Super NES, and a Sega. But this was like in like '95, like when I'm like conscious about it or whatever. And
Yeah.
I got the NES, and then I went from that to my dad bought me a PS1. And before I had the PS1,
Wow.
I bought Twisted Metal from a
That's a jump.
yeah, for like nothing, like maybe like $20 or something. I saved a bunch of allowance or some shit, and the game came with Mortal Kombat, Sub-Zero Chronicles or whatever. But that game,
Oh
we,
god.
we thought it sucked dick. But Twisted Metal and Crash Bandicoot, because my uncle had a PS1 and we played Crash Bandicoot at his house, and going from like you know NES and
8K graphics to the freaking
yeah,
3D polygons.
yeah, and I thought I was so badass because I had that before my cousin got that
Mm.
64 because he was more of a Nintendo guy, and I was trying to be like adult or whatever. I got the I got the PlayStation. You know what I mean? But I
Yep.
had a lot of fun with that. A lot of good, like those Army Men games where you were like a little green army
Oh
dude
yeah.
sneaking around the fucking freezer and the cheese and all that shit. Yeah, like those and Driver 2, some racing games and stuff, and then PS2 came and once again blew my fucking balls clean off. I was like, here we go, man. Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, San Andreas, 25 to Life, Bully, the Warriors game, the game in
Yeah.
question tonight, Manhunt. Like,
Yeah, there we go. The game that we're gonna be
man,
talking about tonight, Manhunt.
oh, like I'm telling
Perfect
you,
transition.
it was like a phenomenon. This Rockstar Games with their Manhunt, okay, because they were already so controversial. And I remember I came from a house where pretty much my mom let me watch South Park when I was like as far back as I can remember. There was never any censorship in the house. The only time she ever censored anything was I bought D12 Devil's Night, and she didn't let she made me give it to my dad because she said it was too fucked up, because there was a song where it was like literally the whole song was like, don't you want to be fucked from behind or some shit, and she's like, man, you can't play this here, man, take it to your dad's. But anything else was up for grabs. But I remember Manhunt and GTA being up in
Yeah,
like
D12 is a rare ass game too.
what's that?
D12 is a rare ass game now.
A rare ass game. Well, are you talking about that game that they were in?
Oh, I'm talking about D12 the game.
No, I'm talking about D12, the fucking rap group.
Oh well, shit. There's a
Jesus Christ. I'm talking about D12, the album called Devil's
oh
Night.
okay
It had
okay.
it was like Bizarre and like Eminem and like all those guys and stuff. But it was very graphic. She said, "Listen, you can't fucking have this album here because it's too like they talking about like banging chicks in the ass and stuff." Like I was young when that came out. It was like '01. But um anyways, this like all these games that were like being talked about in the schools, and stuff, you know, like Grand Theft Auto 3 and Manhunt and stuff. And I'm pretty sure that they even sent home a flyer or something saying about like Grand Theft Auto is like a game, like don't buy your kids Grand Theft Auto this Christmas or some shit. Every kid got it for Christmas, and it's all we
Right.
talked about. And I just remember like I heard about Manhunt long before I ever played it, very long before I ever played it. It was more of like this mystery kind of thing because I
It
feel
was the
like
game that came out before Vice City. It came out in 2003,
okay,
and it was like that filler game that Rockstar had come out with right after Grand Theft Auto 3. So, um, back to what you're saying, what you said, like every kid had heard about it. It's an understatement. I was in middle school when Manhunt came out, and it was every kid, their mother, every grade fucking knew it. In middle school in America is sixth grade through eighth grade. Um, every kid knew what the fuck it was. Now, there was probably two kids out of the entire sixth grade class that I went to school with that had ever played it. Me and my friend Justin. And you know what's funny is you remind me a lot of my friend Justin in middle school because we loved horror movies. We loved horror video games. We made our own comic books in middle school, depicting like killing kids in school that we didn't like with like zombies and robots and shit like that. And we would write the scripts together. I would draw the pictures and we would staple them and like hand them out to our friends. Now, nowadays you'd probably get a lot of trouble for something like that if something ever like that got out. But
fucking felony.
yeah, back then it was like, only Columbine had happened at that point. So not we don't live in the climate, but um no one died, obviously. Kids can be creative in healthy ways. Um but it was the one game that I knew when you would talk about it to other kids, you knew who played it and who didn't really play it. There were kids that you would be like, "Yeah, I played it." Like, "Oh, do you remember this level? This thing was so cool." And they'd be like, yeah, I remember that." It's like, "You didn't play the game."
Yeah, I think like when I finally did play it, and I'm pretty sure um, the first time that I ever seen it played, I remember I was at my cousin's house. He had it, and it was it was like a level where he was in. I think it's like a nut house or something, and that guy is like walking around like a prison like area, and you got to go behind him a few times. Like I'm pretty sure that that was the level that was being played, and I remember
Not
thinking,
how?
no, like it was at like a mental institution or something.
I think that's the second one.
Is it? Well, maybe it was. No, it couldn't have
There is
been.
a mental institution in the first one,
But
but it's
is
like
there not a scene or a mission in the first one where you have to go behind that guy like three times, or maybe there's three of them, and you hide in like a little jail cells?
yeah, that's the second one.
Is it? Okay, well then he was playing that one, and I just remember thinking like this is like so fucking brutal because I was so unaware of horror games. Like I
Right.
didn't know about horror video games. I knew about like Resident Evil and stuff, but I remember thinking like, okay, that's like too fucking far for me because like even though I'm a horror fan, I've never been big on those because I feel like it's almost like sadomasochist shit where like with a horror movie it just gives it to you, but with a horror video game like you have to do it to yourself, and I was always like,
Yeah.
man, I can't handle this shit. It's too stressful. And when I finally played Manhunt, this is no shit. When I was a kid, my dad bought me a PSP. It was used off a buddy. But
Off the
Manhunt
truck.
2 was one of the games in that scene where you like are in a house in a basement and like you crawl
Yep.
and like a baby head or like something weird appears. I swear to God,
Yeah.
as soon as it happened, I turned it off. I said no. I said I'm not playing that game. I said I'm not
That's
playing.
the first level.
I know, but dude, that's the thing. I was like, this is too fucking crazy for me. Plus, like, I was into weed back then. Like, by the time PSP came out, and
Early
No,
2000s.
PSP Go. I got a PSP Go, and
Yeah, that was probably like
got it modded.
2004 or 5 back then.
Yeah, I had that shit modded, and I had like the Manhunt 2 on there again, and I remember trying to play it once, and I was like, no, this ain't fucking happening. But when I finally got around to playing Manhunt on video games, you know what? Let me take a piss real quick before I tell this story. Okay. All right. So the first time that I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm playing Manhunt. Like I just want to have that under my belt for my own satisfaction. Like that's sort of like the thing that kind of fucked everything up for me, or personally. Like, remember when achievements came into play, or like trophies on PS2? But like that made it so.
That was revolutionary
It
at the
was
time.
revolutionary, but it was like proof that you beat the game. Do you know what I mean? Like
Well,
public proof, because like people could see on your thing like the achievements you got and stuff. But back in the day, with like say like game like Manhunt, like if you said you beat it, it was like, you know, it was, if someone was questioning you that knew it, they could tell. You know what I mean? Like how you said. But
or you'd be like, hey, you have to come to my. You'd have to actually have them physically see on your memory of the game. Like, look, I beat the 3-star thing on all these levels under the certain time.
yeah,
Same thing with God of War. Like, I got these collectibles unlocked because I did this.
yeah. So I put the game in and I start playing it, and I was like, this is fucked. Right off the bat. But I loved and I hate this fucking word, I think it's so overused, the aesthetic of the game. You know what I mean? Like it just looked, it looked very greasy, and it was so up my alley, especially at the time. Like this is only a few years ago I'm talking here, man. And I'm like, this is awesome. I played the first level, played the first couple of levels, however far I got into it. I remember thinking like, this is like the most crazy thing, and every level you're almost guaranteed a jump scare that the first time would scare the shit out of you. If you didn't know it was coming, it was heart attack inducing almost. You know what I mean? Like you're watching a horror film play out based on your own, you know, fuckery.
Well, you're trying
basically.
to like the premise of the game is mostly you're trying to use stealth, right? And then if there are certain points of the game where there are specific traps set up by like a zapping system to where if you like walk across a certain point, invisible traps are set up in the game to where a fucking enemy will like jump out and alert other fucking enemies and to chase you down to see what you're gonna do, or a fucking body will fall from a fucking rafter, or you know something fucked up is gonna happen, and you never know when it's gonna happen. And I think it's probably one of the beauty parts of the atmosphere of the game is that if it's your first time, it's always gonna be the best time because you never forget your first time.
Yeah, dude. Like, I'll be right off the bat. Also, I didn't beat the game. Like, I don't want some fucking Manhunt purist to come and listen to this and be like, that son of a bitch didn't even beat the game. But, like, you gotta understand, like, even now, like, I tried playing Scarface, like, this months back by this point, and
PS2.
I played, like, a few, couple of hours of it, like, throughout the week or whatever, and I was like, man, kind of over this right now. I don't really want to play this right now, because I feel like back in the day when I was a kid, like, and you could just sit there and play a video game like all fucking day and it didn't matter, you know what I mean? You'd get more shit done. But since it was progressing so slowly, I was like, man, I don't want to grind. You know what I mean? I didn't want to grind selling the drugs and stuff. So, but anyways, yeah, like
The yippee yayo.
the yippee yayo, yeah, chichi. But anyways, when it comes to Manhunt, I think that the reason it's so legendary to me is it held back nothing. Like everything, like you could kill a guy with like a paper bag or like a plastic bag.
Before you get into that, for anyone that's not aware of what Manhunt is, if you're tuning into this and somehow you've listened to this far in the podcast, we've entertained you enough to listen to this part. The plot of Manhunt is you play as a character named James Earl Cash, which is a fucking amazing name, I would think. That's like one of the top tier names I've ever heard in a video game ever.
or
You're a death row inmate chosen by a director of an underground snuff film ring to participate in an urban version of the most dangerous game for only one night. So one night you have to go around killing other criminals and thugs in the most gruesome ways possible in hopes that the director gets his best shots for his snuff film ring. And then you slowly find out throughout your progression of the game that the chips are not stacked in your favor as the player. Things are not what they seem to be. And then you only have one choice in the end, which is to either hunt people or be the hunted. That is the premise of Manhunt in general. So there you go.
yeah, that's a good explanation. And you did those videos on it, so go back and watch those vids if you haven't. Um, I think that being like, you know, I knew about the game for so long, and I seen it played back in the day, and I had my little run in with Manhunt too. But to play it as an adult, like, and like, I'm also like big into like, art and shit like that. So just like the look of the game in itself is like very inspiring. Like, you know what I mean? Like all
It is.
the enemies and everything, like every
Soundtrack.
yeah, like the
Just
soundtrack, but the character design is my favorite thing about the game, and just like the set design itself, everything looks so disgusting and gross, and they just did such a great job with how the game looks and how it feels and how it plays. It's really really good stuff. But again, it's more for people that I would say are big into the horror game stuff, and I'm probably gonna sound like the biggest pussy. It's never been my thing. I've always respected the art or the subgenre of horror video game. It's just never been up my alley. But with Manhunt, like it's not even supernatural, and it's fucked
no.
up. You know what I mean? And that's what I like about it probably the most. And I think I didn't stop playing the game because I was scared. I stopped playing the game because for me, eventually, like I play a couple of hours here and there, and I just kind of put it down.
Well, first of all, I do want to say that Manhunt is not like a horror game that a lot of people would think of. Like if I hear horror game, I think of Resident Evil, I think of Fatal Frame, I think of Silent Hill. It's not a survival horror game. It's definitely a strategic action stealth horror game, if that makes sense. You're very much using strategy throughout the entire game to target enemies, hunters, as they're called in the game, to come to certain points where you want them to, or you got to hide at certain places because there's going to be like 5 or 6 dudes that are going to overrun you and kill you immediately. You have to break up the group, kill them one by one, and if you don't, most likely you're going to be overtaken and killed. Or if you do end up killing all of them by hand-to-hand combat, it lowers your fucking score in the game, and you get a bad star ranking, which back in the day, before there was achievements, rankings in game were important to you as the player, just on your own accord. Like, oh, I fucking did this and I beat it within this time. Maybe I'll be able to do better next time, or maybe I did the fucking best out of anybody I know that owns this game. Um, that's what kind of game this is. It's not a traditional survival horror game. You're not ammo hoarding. You're not running from zombies. This is very much about strategy. And when I say most dangerous game in an urban environment, that's exactly what it is. You are hunting man in the city in a broken down fucking Gotham City setting. That's the most accurate thing I can think of. Parser City is what it's called, but it looks like Gotham City.
Yeah, it almost is like an exploitation film, type of city, like all the different like types of enemies, like there's all these different gangs, like and they're all unique like characters and stuff. I really like that, man. And even like those Arkham video games, like I played one of those. I played Arkham Knight Like the one where when you're in the asylum, and then
Arkham
when you're in the
Asylum, yeah.
city, you're in like the city, Arkham City, and that was the last one I played of those, and I loved those, and I loved the way the cities looked and stuff, and it kind of reminds me of
Play the
Manhunt in a
third
way.
one. If you didn't play the third one, you gotta play the third one.
See, the thing is, I don't even have a way to play it. I have a PS2 and an Xbox 360. That's it.
I think the third one was on the Xbox 360, but dude, the third one, Arkham Knight, is fucking amazing. If you liked Arkham City, Arkham Knight is really, really good as well.
Yeah.
It's not as good as Arkham City, in my opinion. Arkham City is like the echelon of all those Batman games, the Arkham games.
Yeah.
But yeah, Arkham City was really good. I couldn't put it down.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? How it has like that sort of nighttime,
Dirty.
dirtiness
You feel
to
dirty.
it. Yeah, and
Like
even
I felt dirty playing. Like my dad would say this as a kid. I remember this when Manhunt was still new. That he felt dirty after playing the game. At the moment, at the time, I didn't really understand what he meant by that. I was like, "What do you mean you feel dirty?" It's like, well, you you come up behind a guy and you not only saw his head off, but you saw his head off with like a fucking like rusty piece of knife.
yeah.
It's like,
But you know what? Like we didn't kill anybody, and we were subjected to that shit.
exactly.
You
You know what? They're the Chicago Tribune in America. I have a great quote that they said for Manhunt. They called it the Clockwork Orange of video games, due to holding the player's eyes open so they don't miss a single splatter of the game.
Wow. That's like really well put. That's really well put, and I agree with that. But um, I definitely think there's nothing like Manhunt, and I think that it's
And there
like
never will be.
there never
There
will
never
be
will
again.
be.
No, of course. But like the legacy and like the just everything about it, because it was such like it was back in the time when they were still banning games. Like maybe they still do now, I don't know. But I remember back when it was like they're gonna ban that game, or like they're banning this out of whatever, and it was such like a phenomenon, and it was like Manhunt, but it was made by Rockstar Games, and I remember it was this whole thing, like the guys that made Max Payne, like made Grand Theft Auto and Manhunt and the fucking Warriors game and Bully, and it was just like this whole thing, like Rockstar was like this badass, like motherfucking company that did whatever they wanted.
What their namesake was.
Yeah, they were rock stars. Yeah, they did what they wanted,
Yeah.
and
They weren't role models.
yeah,
They
like,
were fucking rock stars.
personally, to me, it's the best game company that's ever existed, just based off of the experience I've had with not only Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, San Andreas, but like number 4. Played the shit out of 4, played the shit out of 5 to a certain degree, but I mean like, and Bully, like I probably played Bully the most out of any Rockstar game, or maybe,
I really enjoyed Bully for what it was, and a lot of people didn't ever give that game a chance just based off the cover art and the name alone. But if you ever play the game, you fully get it. You're not a bully. You're fighting the fucking bullies in the private school that you're being sent to by your shitty parents and
yeah.
dealing with shitty teachers and shitty classmates. Like you're living every kid's fucking middle school that went to a shitty middle school or whatever. And it felt great to play.
Oh
A lot
yeah.
of exploration too. And I love the parts where you find the fucking drunken hobo that
Yeah,
like
teaches you karate.
every school, including my schools, had a fucking drunken bum that would hang around.
That's crazy. Drunken bum hanging around the school.
like like I remember like not only in Bully, but did you ever play the Tony Hawk game?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so I remember like through I think it was like Tony Hawk 3 or 4 where they started introducing Ollie the Bum. There was a character named Ollie the Bum, and he was just like this drunk bum that would always just show up randomly. Like you'd find him randomly within the game, And this dude reminded me of every drunken fucking bum that would hang out around our schools all the fucking time, just like Bully. Just one drunken bum always fucking around. You know, you knew that where you'd find him, he'd be the guy that if you needed to get beer, you could give him like $5 and he'd give you a beer or whatever, cigarettes, whatever.
Yeah. We didn't have any hobos hanging around the school until I was in high school. But it's, to me, like we said, like it's never gonna be like duplicated, like the whole like manhunt like phenomenon, all that stuff, and that's unfortunate because, oh, and I totally forgot to mention in my Rockstar thing there, Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2 and Undead Nightmares, but like loved all that stuff. But to me, it's like how that guy said like a Clockwork Orange of video games. Like I really know what he means by that because it's very it's ultra violent, you know what I mean? And that's what Clockwork Orange is. Like the guy said, like one of his favorite things was ultra violence, and killing people with like a glass shard or whatever the fuck it is always insane to see, and it's just like a real treat that we got to live in a time where, you know, when Mortal Kombat came out and there was like a little bit of blood and like a spinal cord, like
Right.
they had no fucking clue of what was to come, you know, in the form of
Right.
Manhunt, you know, where we're
And
talking about the dirtiest.
it was always the same people that would spearhead trying to get that shit banned. Joe Baca, Hillary Clinton, always trying to get video games like Mortal Kombat and almost all of the Rockstar games banned. Always. It was always them two that you'd always see spearheading those bills, at least in America, to get those fucking games banned. The controversies around Manhunt, I almost feel are almost the least significant, because the games still ended up coming out. Now, I'm only talking about the first game. The second game did a lot of things that I don't agree with. Um, as far as the way they handled their employees, the way they handled the whole development of the game, and the whole premise of the game. I don't agree with it. But the first game, Rockstar didn't bend over for anybody. They basically gave everyone the finger, and that was the beauty of that era of games, is you could still basically be like the fucking New Line Cinema of video games in the 80s, or what New Line Cinema was in the 80s, where you're about to fucking go broke. You could experiment with what you wanted to do and still push the shit out for people. Or Evil Dead, if you want to talk about Evil Dead. I know how much you hate Evil Dead, but the first Evil Dead film.
No, I
The first
fucking
Evil
love
Dead,
Evil Dead 1 and 2. I hate Evil Dead 3. That
fuck
movie.
you. Evil Dead. It's not called Evil Dead 3. It's called Aria of Darkness.
Yeah, fucking. I wish that the screen was in darkness. Fuck, man.
Oh my god.
But
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you could, back in that era, there was so much experimentation going on from the NES all the way up to the PS2, and when it came to horror games especially, you could get away with things like that and make things like that, and you didn't have to ask permission from anybody. You know what? People might threaten to be like, "Oh, your game's only gonna get an AO rating," and guess what? Walmart's not gonna carry your game. Well, you know what? Fuck Walmart. You don't. Walmart's the place that you don't want to shop to buy video games or CDs. They carry the fucking edited version. Do you want the edited version of the latest Eminem CD, sir? Fuck you.
What? That's fucked.
Anyway, what I was also gonna say about the controversy about the game is that, yeah, it was banned in multiple countries. It was due to the media misinformation about the game. They made it seem like it was a murder simulator, and that's coming off the heels of Columbine. Like, they tried to make it sound like, just like they did with Doom, just like they did with Wolfenstein, just like they did with Mortal Kombat. They try to make it sound like, oh, the youth is gonna get a hold of this, and we're all gonna become trained weapons of the military to go kill people, and do all this kind of shit. But guess what? It never fucking happened. Um, and the parents that blamed their child's death in the UK on Manhunt because the two friends that were playing it, that they were both drug dealers, okay? And the kid got fucking killed by his friend who was a drug dealer. The police came out on record. I found the actual news clipping and put it in the video that I had made, that the police had said this was a drug deal and the kid was murdered due to a drug deal. The parents wanted to blame a video game, just like everyone else wanted to blame Marilyn Manson and video games for the problems that their kids had done because they're bad fucking parents. So there you go. That was what happened.
Yeah. It's insane to me to blame music or movies or video games on stuff that happens. I think people are just fucked and destined to do fucked up stuff. You know, the best we can hope is like they stay the fuck out of our turf. Or
Right.
stay away from our loved ones and us. That's about all we
I
can
always
say.
think of it like Terminator 2. It's weird. I've been bringing this up a lot lately. It's probably just because of how the world is right now. I bring up Terminator 2 when John Connor's talking to the Terminator out in the desert. And he's staring at those two kids that are fighting over the toy guns, and
Yeah.
they're shooting each other. And John Connor looks at the Terminator and he says, "We're not going to make it, are we?" And Terminator Arnold Schwarzenegger says, um, "It is the destiny of
Species or whatever.
your species or whatever. You're infatuated with destroying yourselves." Like, I mean, that is the truth. James Cameron wrote the truth in that line. I don't know.
I think people need to fucking realize that Terminator 2, and I know that it's praised, but I think it is so it's overrated. I'm not saying it's not a good movie. I'm just saying it's overrated, that it's like, oh, Terminator 2 is like the best sequel, but it is not only is it a good sequel, it's a good fucking movie. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
especially if you're watching the director's cut, or there's like the ultimate
it's the only
edition,
way to
whatever.
watch it.
Yeah, it's fucking killer. And it does relate
James
with
Cameron's director's cuts are probably the best director's cuts to ever watch films for,
dude.
except for maybe Titanic. Fuck Titanic.
Dude, I love Titanic. Love
What?
it. I love Titanic, man. I
It's so
fucking love that.
cheesy.
I love the movie, man.
I
I
just rewatched it, and it was like
Yeah, because it's
the part where
good.
they're standing over the boat, and he's like, "We're flying." It's like, what woman would ever fall for something like that? Like, what woman would ever like fall for some cheese like that?
Fuck, he stole a fucking sketchbook and he fucking used it to get her naked in front of him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the whole thing is about like him, like she's dumb.
Yeah, I like the movie. I love the story of the Titanic, even though it was a horrible event. But I
That's
just find it
true.
fascinating. Like the fear that would have been happening. And the shame that a lot of people came back with that survived. Like men that survived the Titanic were like, shamed for the rest of their lives because they were cowards, because they didn't.
Look, I looked up a lot of facts after that. That whole movie is almost completely fabricated as far as how many numbers of people survived, the number of boats that went back for people, the children that had died on that was like way higher than what they
Oh yeah.
depicted in the film. And uh, I don't know.
Dude,
I had a
I
lot
used
of
to think about like fucking like when I was a kid and that movie came out, and like, I was always obsessed with like shipwrecks and all that kind of stuff anyway. And I used to think about like is there skeletons in the bottom like covered in coral that were like from the Titanic? You know what I'm saying?
would
Crazy.
skeletons last that long in salt water?
I don't know, but I mean like some guy's shoes and like his shirt, his shitty shirts down there fucking with a shark biting it. Frozen shark boat, because you'd be
I've been watching
frozen.
a lot of human tragedy movies
Oh,
lately,
dude,
actually.
a movie you need to watch if you haven't already. It's called Below. Have you seen it or heard of it?
No, no,
Dude,
I just watched Jojo Rabbit yesterday.
I don't even know what the fuck that is, but watch Below, because it's about a submarine. It's
I'll watch Below. You watch Jojo Rabbit.
okay. Let me just say that it is like a horror film that takes place on a submarine, and
Okay.
it's awesome.
Like it's not like God, what is that? It's not. Is it a 70s or 80s movie?
It's a
The
90.
fucking.
It's like an early 2000s film. It's got Zach
Okay.
Galifianakis in it before he was like.
I'm not thinking of the Nazi ship one.
No, that's something else.
Death Ship.
Oh, Ghost Ship.
No, Death Ship.
Oh, Death Ship. Okay, yeah, I've never seen Death Ship. Ghost Ship is not Nazis. It's like the thief,
No,
the
that's like an
thieving,
ocean liner one.
no, the thieving devil guy, or whatever he's supposed to be.
The only cool part of that movie was the fucking piano wire that cuts everyone's head off at the beginning.
Yeah, that's a good movie. Like it's not great, but it's a decent little. It's kind of like Deep Blue Sea, like all those movies that came out around that time. Like
Like
they're shitty, but they're not like they're watchable for us because they were like what was new at the time. Like
Lucy have LL Cool J in it.
oh yeah, he was like a fucking religious chef on this
Yeah.
fucking.
That was like at the height of his career too. He was like coming off music and he started getting into music or movies. He was like in Deep Blue Sea and then he was in like a fucking Halloween movie or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. I believe
Or no,
H2O.
that was that wasn't LL Cool J in Halloween.
Yeah, it was LL Cool J was in H2O, and then Busta Rhymes was in Resurrection.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. And I love the scene when Busta Rhymes is like in his hotel and he's like watching an old kung fu flick. He's like
That's right.
he's like looking at me, kicked his ass while he's smoking a cigarette, and like he's like right into like the thing, and that's just funny to me. But I don't think that H2O or Resurrection are like either of them are great at all. But I would prefer Resurrection over it because I just
I have a soft spot for the haunted house one. Is that Resurrection?
Resurrection is the one where they have like the haunted house like show, like reality
I have
show.
a soft spot for that
I
one
like
because it's
that
so
one.
stupid. It's so
It's
stupid.
so dumb, but I love the one guy when he's setting up the camera and he's like, "You see this? Not scary. You see this? Not scary." And then he's like, "You see this? Scary." I don't know. You almost pick up shit on that. Pick up,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
fuck.
And yeah, fucking Jojo Rabbit's a movie about a kid growing up in Nazi Germany as a kid that wants to be a Nazi, and his imaginary friend is Adolf Hitler.
Oh, is it that little fucking fat kid?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
it's
dude,
that movie.
if if I watched
it is really
even a second of that, I would vomit. That's how much I
no,
hate
dude.
that kid.
It's really good. I've never even seen that kid before, but the movie that little fat kid's not even in the movie for like 10 minutes.
Dude, that little
He's like
fat
he's
kid
like
is he's in that
he's
new
like the
Home
friend
Alone
of the main
movie.
character.
Yeah, but he's in that new Home Alone film, and that movie was so god awful. It made me
I've
want
never
to
even
it
seen
made me
that,
want to
but
jump off of a fucking balcony, man.
why would you even watch that?
Cause I was all fucking high. I was high, man. I was like, man, I gotta watch Home
There's so many
Alone.
better movies to watch.
I know, but the thing is, I'm a psychopath, and I was like, you know what? I look at it almost like an exploitation film. They're exploiting Home Alone in my fucking
That was what Home Alone 3 was, man.
Home Alone 3 was at least like they tried. They at least tried with Home Alone 3. The rest of them
I mean,
are just like,
I could see Home Alone 3 being a stoner film, but not fucking that one.
dude, do you know what's a stoner film? Uh, okay, this is totally off topic from the show, and everyone's gonna be like, dude, what is this guy's deal? But there's a show that me and fucking Kayla started to watch.
I think it's great that we're talking about this. It's 420.
Yeah, it's 420. But there's a show. It's
And
called.
your name was Video Blunt 420 or whatever before.
No, it used to be Bluntzilla Video.
Bluntzilla
Yeah,
or something.
Bluntzilla Video, and then I turned it to Videohomicide. But there's a show called I Love a Mama's Boy. Okay, and it's it's a reality show. It's trash. It's trash TV, but it's so unbelievably dumb, and like it just seems so fake to me. And there's this one character that looks exactly like, I gotta get her up. It looks like Tim Curry.
From like the UK or something or what?
No, it's in the States, but there's this woman that looks like Tim Curry. Hold on.
A woman.
Yeah.
That looks like Tim Curry from Rocky Horror Picture Show,
Yeah,
or
but
just Curry.
you'll see. Hold on, I'm pulling it up here. Um,
Because Tim Curry looks like Tim Curry in every movie except for Rocky Horror Picture Show.
people have even like made like the Tim Curry meme. Hold on. Yeah, look, it's someone that made the meme.
Oh wow!
It's
Yeah, she's got
you
that
kind of have to
freak.
watch the show, but it's so stupid. So like we'll like get high and we'll put on this shitty show, and we'll be watching it, and like there's this one woman who's like an Afghanistan woman, and her son, like he's a mama's boy, but it's like to the like she's shaving his back and stuff. Like
Yeah,
it's so fucking stupid. But
oh, it's Norman Bates kind of shit.
yeah, but his girlfriend, who the mom does not like, wants a $40,000 wedding ring, right? And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? $40,000?" And then she says like, it's ridiculous, but she says like a bunch of stupid like shit, like she wants this and that, and she should be flown here and there. And I was just thinking like, can you imagine like hearing like if
Definitely
that's
sounds like a show me and my wife will have to check out one night.
dude, you just check it out, just one episode. It's ridiculous, man. It's so fucking ridiculous. I'm
It'll
sorry
be
that
a,
I had to bring that up on this
it'll
podcast,
be a
but
chronic night. I'll save it in my brain for that for sure.
yeah.
So back to Rockstar Games. I wanted to talk about how um we already said already that Rockstar or that Manhunt will be a game that will never be created again, right? In today's society. I wanted to get your viewpoint. I don't know if you heard recently what happened with Rockstar Games and how in Grand Theft Auto 5 it was like big news like a day ago on Twitter. That's what big news is nowadays for video games. That they began to remove all of the parts of the game and dialogue from the game where they make fun of trans people. Anything that's related to transgender people, they removed it from the game. Any
Is there
cutscene.
that much of it in Grand Theft Auto?
I mean, that's been a. I mean, there's about gay people and everything like that, and transgender people since Grand Theft Auto 3. I mean, the beauty about Grand Theft Auto, right, is that it's a parody of our reality,
Yeah.
and the funny thing is, um, what Laszlo said, and the head director of the guy that made Rockstar, is that the funny thing about their games is that when they make something and it's a parody, it ends up becoming true. And by the time Grand Theft Auto 5 had ended, everyone that was originally running Rockstar Games was gone, including Laszlo, including the head of Rockstar. Everyone that ever wrote a Grand Theft Auto game that we know of are gone. So now the people that are running Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto now are basically George Lucasing the freaking the video games with patches where they can. Now, does that make sense to do when the original version of the game is always going to be able to be found out about? Like, you're not changing history. And do you think this is like a desperate attempt on trying to save like face because of how much backlash they got off of the Grand Theft Auto 3 through Vice City through San Andreas remasters because they were so fucking poorly received? Do you think this is like a desperate attempt? I know this is like a weird bomb to kind of drop on you in the middle of or at the end of the podcast, but for me, when I read about it, my personal opinion, desperation move. Desperation move to save face because I mean a lot of people that are still playing Grand Theft Auto right now are fucking kids. No one gives a fuck about Grand Theft Auto 5, a game that came out in 2013, the same year I started YouTube. We're talking about a game that's almost a fucking decade years old,
Wow.
and they're still pimping it out in 2022 over and over and over again. It's like almost the running butt of Skyrim. You know, they pimp it out on everything. It's out on fucking everything. Now they're doing the whole George Lucas thing, and the only people that I can think of in my head that are kids that are still playing Grand Theft Auto now are the kids that don't want to have like a fucking gender related to them or a fucking a regular name, let alone, I don't know. That's my opinion, to save face to make more money because they're going to keep pimping out the gambling aspect of Grand Theft Auto.
I think that where they like, I think it's bullshit. Like I don't know too much about like the inner workings. Like I knew that they were doing like a remastered version, but and this might not be like kind of the answer or whatever you're looking for, but I would say with Grand Theft Auto 4, it had these two amazing DLC that like games that were like full on games that you could get in the way of Ballad of Gay Tony, which is where
Ballad of Gay Tony.
which is
I played that
fantastic,
one.
where you're like the you know like kind of like a co-club owner, which is it's just like a really good story, and then you have Lost and Damned, which was the biker story. And I
Right.
thought, and like that, I think that one came out first. But either way, they were so like it was a new game to play, a new story to play. With these things that they're coming out with, these constant downloads and shit with Grand Theft Auto 5, it's just like we want a new game. You know, like the when I buy a new console, it will be to play Grand Theft Auto. Or either whatever comes first, a Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption, because I love those games. Um, but to me, for them to to remove stuff out of the game, and I know they've done shit like that in the past, it's just it's bullshit, and it takes away it's censoring winning once again. You know, censorship winning once again, because if
It's
they
it's censorship because they're not being forced to do it. They're
self
doing it
censorship,
on
it's
their
self
own.
censorship. It's self censorship. It's just like back in the days with like horror movies and stuff. They would, they would be like, you know what, fuck it, we're not going to do this because we know it's not going to get past the rating system. So fuck it, it's self censorship. Just like back then, like no, we can't. This is going to be too intense. Like fuck, man. Like look how bloody this is. We're not going to be able to pass this. So fuck it. Let's cut it. We won't even give it to them.
My huge question is why now? A game where all that shit's been in there after a decade at this point. Why do it now? Is it because that you're still trying to pimp out Grand Theft Auto 5 after a decade, or is it because you released a Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas remaster that were so bad that Steam had to stop carrying it in their store and issue refunds to everybody? You garnered so much hatred towards your company for those things, and now you're trying to gain back even the slightest bit of audience that you can to look like you're some sort of social justice warrior company now, um, just to retain sales, to keep on pimping out this gambling machine, which is Grand Theft Auto's 5's online, to buy fake money in a game that's not going to be relevant in another like few years from now. I just don't understand. And I see I see the arguments on Twitter, and I don't even participate in anything like that because it's so ridiculous. You see people saying like, "Oh, if you're mad about this, then you hate transgender people," or if you're mad about this, you're just a bad person. Or and then you see the complete opposite sides of people that are against it, but they're not, or they're for it or whatever. They're against it, but they're not saying it for the right reasons. They're like, "But this is Rockstar Games." Obviously, haven't been following that Rockstar Games hasn't been Rockstar as far as staff since Grand Theft Auto 5 released. Um, it's just it's mind boggling to me that people could be so dumb. It shouldn't be at this point, but people are just so stupid to think that this company, despite whatever beliefs that you want to follow, they don't give a fuck about it as long as you're gonna keep buying their game.
Yeah,
You
which
know?
is it's like as good as a fucking cell phone game if you ask me, because if you got to keep paying to play the game, that's bullshit. Like, well, we come from an era where you get the game and that's the game. You know, you don't got to
Game.
spend fucking an extra 50. Games aren't even cheap, man. Like, they've never really been cheap, but they ain't cheap now. Like, nothing is cheap, especially now. But to spend like $80 on a game and then like to continue to play it, you got to spend 20 a month. No fucking way,
Yeah.
man. That's
You
ridiculous.
want to hear something ridiculous? The new Evil Dead game that's coming out, right? The
Oh,
multiplayer Evil Dead game.
nice.
Um, the regular version, you want the regular version, which is the base game, $40. If you want Evil Dead the Deluxe Edition, it's a full $80. And the only thing that comes with it that's different is that you get uh Evil Dead or Ash versus Army of Darkness Camelot Ash costume pack, and you get S Smart variant ending Ash costume pack. Something that would have been free in any other video game back in the day.
That's his greed, man.
It's disgusting, and it's not even a video game that has a story. It's a multiplayer fucking Evil Dead game, like the Jason game, what the Friday the 13th game was. That offered
Yeah.
way more free shit than this game. So
Yeah, it's all about getting cash and stuff, and that's what rules. Unfortunately, it's what kind of makes everything shitty, especially with collecting and stuff at times. Like, prices are fucked. It's kind of a shitty time to even start a collection. Like, because it's good to see people starting collections and stuff, but it's definitely would piss me off that instead of being able to find movies for like $1, you got to spend like 5 to 10 on like catalog
oh.
stuff. Like, oh, I'm gonna buy Ghostbusters, but it's $10. You
Yeah,
know,
why would anyone even want to start collecting at that point? Why would you want the physical thing when you could go? I mean, you go on Voodoo and there's deals every fucking day. You're gonna buy you want Ghostbusters 1 and 2 on the 4K resolution for $4 in a combo deal. Fuck, you're gonna do that. You don't give a fuck about the VHS version at that point. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. It's
I don't
it's
know.
it's bull, and it's all about. It's just the love hate relationship with this type of stuff. You know,
Yeah. And the
but
difference between, I would say, also movie collecting compared to video game collecting is like I own all these old ass games and their consoles physically because even though they offer like the Castlevania pack where they offer all the Castlevania games, I could buy them right now on my new Xbox. They don't play the same. You need the controller that they came out with. They don't feel the same and they don't play the same. I don't know if that's something only mentally in my head. I don't know, but I definitely feel like there's a difference between having the controller that these games were meant for due to versus our controllers that we have now. They just don't feel like they play right.
right.
That's just me.
I understand that. It's weird. Like, even to this day, like playing Grand Theft Auto, to me, it has to be done on like when I was younger, it had to have been done on a PS2, but now it's like I have to have it on Xbox. Because I played like GTA 4 on Xbox, GTA. I even played GTA 5 on 360. That's how I played it and beat it the first time. I think I beat it
Me too.
twice, but and I like that's to get to that for one more second. They should have had the first story be like the one character, and then had like other stories, and play them that way as opposed to like mixing them up and stuff. I did not like that at all. Did not like that. Although I did like when like you switched to Trevor and he was always like doing something weird. He was like kicking a hooker out of a fucking like a garbage can or whatever it was, right? It's fun shit.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like you could have made the game longer by probably having 3 stories instead of having 3 characters intertwined.
Yeah.
But
Fuck.
yeah. But yeah, man, you're gonna have Shock Stock very soon.
Yeah, that's
And
not next weekend. The weekend of the April 29th. It's gonna be fun.
I
Fuck yeah.
wish I could be there, man. I really wish I could be there. I really wanted to go. Um, I didn't even know fucking like passports back in the day. I would be able to get a passport in like a week. Uh, 10 years ago, I could get a passport. That was the last time I had a passport. Was 10 years ago, and I could get one in a week. Now it takes a fucking month or more to get a passport.
Yeah, it's bullshit. It's definite bullshit. Yeah, like I haven't been to the States in like quite a few years, but it's all because of not having a passport, and then like I think it just expired, and I was like, you know what, I don't really have a reason to go get it renewed anytime soon, and then COVID and all that bullshit, but fuck, there's not much like to do in Detroit other than like drive around and fucking look at shit, you know.
Not get shot.
Look at shit. Go to a fucking like a strip mall and go to like an outlet store and get some good jeans or something for cheap. You know what I mean? Fuck. It's
Yeah.
I've been to 8 Mile, like where fucking Eminem's from and all that shit. It's just like a shitty like it's nothing. It's literally just like what you might think. It's like a little area where there's a lot of strip malls with outlets and car dealerships and shit.
What are all your social medias so people can follow you on?
My social medias are I'm on YouTube as Videohomicide. I am on Instagram as Videohomicide, and that is it. I don't have Twitter. I have a Facebook page, Videohomicide, but I'm not that active on it. I just find that Facebook is like is slowly dying. I really only have it to share shit with like people that I grew up with that don't have like Instagram and stuff. But I'm definitely active on Instagram, and I want to be more active on YouTube, especially like I have tomorrow off, so I'm definitely going to be making a couple of videos and stuff and posting them and getting some more vids up because I really want to do, some more stuff. I kind of want to do maybe not a Q&A or like a contest or something coming up soon, just for fun, because I do have like a lot of stuff that I want to get out there, but it's stuff that it's kind of like I can't. It's like really fucked up humor shit, like comics and stuff. Like the comic I made called Filthy Ralph is very like R-rated. You know what I mean? Like it's sexually perverted and stuff. And
Yeah. Did you know that Eastman and Laird, the guys that made the Ninja Turtles,
yeah.
their early comic books are all porn comics?
Oh, their early stuff is crazy. There's fuck, I totally forget what it's called, but there's like a collection that you can get. It's a issue of something. I know they had it on mycomicshop.com, and it was all like a bunch of like their early strips, like just like an anthology of all their early shit before Turtles. Goobly Gawk, maybe it was called. I think it was called Goobly Gawk or something like that. But
Luke or something.
Put out by Mirage, and just
Yeah,
amazing
they're all like
stuff.
porno comics.
Yeah, I think that Eastman and Laird doing the Turtles, or just Eastman and Laird in general, I think their art is fantastic. I love Eastman's, cover, like Resurgence he had with the IDW series, even though I pulled out of that series at like issue maybe 30 or some bullshit, maybe even less than that, but I had a lot of fun with some of that story. I loved, with when IDW took over and owned the Turtles, there was one storyline called the Rise of the Foot Clan or Fall of the Foot Clan or something like that, and the art was by a guy named Matu Santaluco, and it was just fantastic, man. It was like amazing artwork, amazing story and stuff. So I would recommend checking that out if you can.
This right here, this whole thing is full of the original comic book posters of Ninja Turtle comics from the 90s.
Really? That's cool, man.
Like this is City at War, but I don't want to pull the whole thing out.
Yeah,
But this
no,
is
that's
these are all original posters.
that's rad, man. That's sick as fuck. Yeah, I dig
Anyway,
that. I
I
dig
know
that.
no one can see that hears this, but anyway,
We need.
this was the
Wait,
first step.
let me say this real quick. We need to do this again within
Well,
a
I think
year.
we should do a checkup.
Within a year.
I think we should do a checkup episode after your after Shock Stock to see
Yeah,
how it
dude.
went.
Yeah,
Everything.
I'll definitely do that, man. Yeah, it's good because it's always good talking to you and shit, and it's always makes for a good listen to people on the channel. Like I always have a good time with it. So
Yeah, and we definitely need to do another VHS graveyard podcast.
Definitely we will. We'll do that. We'll do that soon. Maybe we'll do that next, and like the follow up will be that, and
On
we'll
that
plug
podcast,
this. What's the name of this one again? I fucking totally blew my.
Hold My Power Up.
Hold My Power Up. So like as does that mean like if it's like you're about to get into a fight and like you tell a guy like hold my vest or some shit? Is that what you mean
Yeah,
by
like
that?
Hold My Beer.
Oh yeah. Hold my fucking beer. I'm about to punch this guy out. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. All right, bro. So we'll end the recording and then we'll chat for a minute and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yep. Have a good night, guys, and thank you for listening. And this is Forrest from Retro or Die, and you can follow me anywhere you find Retro or Die. And this is episode 1. Hold My Power Up. Later. All right.
That was dope.
I think it was good. Dude, it was like, how long have we been recording this? 2 hours and 20 minutes.